Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to the channel. I'm Cheryl, and this is True Crime and Other Stuff. Thanks for being here, where I like to bring you the facts about true crime, the missing, current events, or anything I find interesting or important. Today, I'd like to talk about the missing 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers, missing from Tennessee. Today, I want to look over these two interviews with the father. One's an earlier video with Court TV, and the next one is a newer video with News Nation. So let's go ahead and look at these videos.
I don't know where he's at.
Mom Katie broke down several times in our interview, but says her hope is strong that her son Sebastian will be found safe and return home.
He's going to walk through that door, and this street will be flooded again with family and relatives all waiting to hug and love him. And
Stepdad Chris says it's been an emotional roller coaster that all started Sunday night, February 25th.
Pretty normal. He was playing in his room. When I told him to go to bed, he did. He said, "Good night, Mom. I love you."
Katie says she went to wake up Sebastian around 6 a.m. Monday for school, and he was gone. Within minutes, Katie says she was on the phone with Chris, who was working out of town, and they quickly called 911.
And he's not a runner. He's never run away before. I don't know why. I don't know why he walked out that door.
And still no sign of Sebastian Rogers. The 15-year-old disappeared in the middle of the night on February 25th. His mother was the last person to see him and says that he left the house without any shoes on and just a flashlight. So where is he? Searchers continue looking for Sebastian.
Sebastian Rogers is 15. He was last seen by his parents on February 25th in Hendersonville. Sebastian has autism. He's gone.
It's the middle of the night, February 26th in Hendersonville, Tennessee. 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers should be safe, asleep in his bed in his home. But now everyone is wondering, was he home? Was he safe? Sebastian's mom, Katie Proudfoot, says she went to wake up Sebastian for school, but when she went to get him up, he wasn't there. She looked in the house. He wasn't there. He was gone, vanished. After she called 911, the law enforcement search was on. It was wide, it was extensive, but yet again, no sign of Sebastian. Katie believes he left the home barefoot with his glasses, but where would he go? Why would he leave? And how could no one find him? Sebastian's father, Seth Rogers, shares custody and has been out searching for his son. Meanwhile, Katie says her husband had to go back to work out of town, and Katie left her home to be with him.
Make no mistake, Sebastian Rogers missing is not yet a cold case. The TBI, along with the FBI and the Sumner County Sheriff, tell me that it remains an active case. But authorities also say they are no closer to solving the mystery of what happened to Sebastian. In recent weeks, the most recent tip that turned out to be nothing was this photograph taken at a visitor center in North Carolina. That look-alike teen was identified and confirmed not to be Sebastian. Since then, things have been quiet.
We're doing everything we can do. Every time a tip comes in, we follow up on it.
Eric Craddock is chief deputy with the Sumner County Sheriff's Office and heads up the investigation. 100 days since Sebastian disappeared is a milestone, but Craddock says no one is giving up. Unfortunately, the number of tips or potential sightings reported have gone down in recent weeks. There are no more random search efforts by authorities, but based on the investigation and search efforts to date, they do have a body of work to review.
I think in the absence of information, what we'll continue to do is go back over everything we've already done once, put a fresh set of eyes on it.
Maybe someone with a fresh outlook will notice something in the search area that others have missed. In the meantime, Craddock says they keep in touch with Sebastian's parents, who continue to cooperate, having talked to them just this past week. Everyone is frustrated over the lack of new leads, which unfortunately still result in crazy conspiracy theories.
Oh, the The rumor mill on social media has done nothing to advance this case.
When something significant does happen, we will hear about it first from authorities, not from armchair detectives on social media. For now, investigators say all options remain on the table, including the possibility still of foul play. Nick
Maybe
Barris, News Channel
some
5.
armchair
Morning to you. And
detectives
might I just
might
start
figure
by
it
both
out.
saying thank you and just that my heart and the hearts of all of our wonderful viewers really go out to you. The agony that you're going through, I can't even imagine. I've seen you do some interviews, and I've been so amazed at how resilient you are. And you've talked about how
Okay, so this interview is with Seth, the father of Sebastian Rogers. And this, I think this is before Tony comes along to be his PR guy. And this is when we really wasn't suspecting Seth of anything. We felt bad for him and we were on his side. And then everything changed. So let's listen to this.
Recent tip that turned out to be nothing was this photograph taken at a visitor center in North Carolina. That lookalike teen was identified and confirmed not to be Sebastian. Since then, things have been quiet.
We're doing everything we can do. Every time a tip comes in, we follow up on it.
Eric, maybe someone with a fresh outlook
saying thank you, and just that my heart and the hearts of all of our wonderful viewers really go out to you. The agony that you're going through, I can't even imagine. I've seen you do some interviews, and I've been so amazed at how resilient you are. And you've talked about how nothing is going to make you give up hope. Tell us, please, where's that drive coming from?
My son. He's my life. He's my heart. He's not here, and I'm not complete unless I have him. So it's the drive to be whole again.
You know, I applaud you for holding out hope, being so resilient, being positive, and who knows what can happen with this investigation, and any day could be the day Sebastian comes home. From your perspective, Seth, how satisfied are you with the investigation being done by TBI?
My son's not here. They have no evidence. They haven't. Sumner County is the one that's like doing it. TBI is assisting. I've asked TBI to take it over. They haven't yet. There's just things that I don't think have been done.
What would you like to be done, Seth, that hasn't been?
I have a list of stuff, but I don't know if they've done it or not. I mean, there's been questions that have been asked, and things that have been answered. It's really hard to have evidence if certain protocols aren't being followed. You have to start back over from day one.
You know, going back to day one, so Sebastian goes to sleep the evening of February 25th. It's on the morning of the 26th that your ex-wife finds that he's not in his bedroom. She is the only one said to be home. And Sebastian could have vanished sometime in the hours from when she last saw him go to sleep and from the time she opened the door. There's a window there overnight. Your best guess, Seth, based on how well you know your son, what do you think happened to Sebastian?
He's not the type to put on, he's not the type to leave the house without putting on socks and shoes. As for running away or leaving, he didn't take his backpack. He didn't take his switch. He didn't take his phone. I mean, Just doesn't make sense. And he's not one to wander. He's never eloped before.
Are you leaning towards a potential kidnapping?
Anything is speculation at this point in time, because there is no, as they have said, evidence that leads towards foul play. But there's things that just don't add up. His mother was the last one to see him. She's responsible for this, either through negligence at the bare minimum.
Has she been a good mother to Sebastian?
Not in my opinion.
Why
This
do you
is the
say that,
third
sir?
time that you know, my son's come up missing now under her watch. Time before that, her and Chris let my son get molested and raped in their apartment. And the time before that, I did a well care check because she let a known sex offender who, yes, did their 9 years in prison, but she left my son around that person. You don't do that. If you're a parent, you don't do that. You're supposed to protect your kid. You don't put them in where they can get in any type of harm's way.
Seth, you said something very upsetting, very shocking, and I just want to go back just a moment. You said that your wife allowed your son, Sebastian, your ex-wife, I should say, your ex-wife allowed Sebastian to be in a situation where he was molested and raped?
In California. And Chris in her apartment. They let a child who was 5 years older than my son play with my son and didn't bother to check on him there neither. And he lost his innocence because of it.
Wow, this is crazy. He's saying this on national court TV. Man, okay.
Seth, I'm so sorry to hear this. I'm so sorry to hear this. No child should be subjected to any kind of abuse whatsoever. Sexual abuse can be especially traumatic for a young child. Is this...
Why didn't Seth take Sebastian then? He couldn't, or what? Like, I don't know. Did he report this? Did anybody report it?
something that Sebastian has struggled with since then?
Yeah, finally was able to actually start getting him therapy for it last year. The fact is that they weren't doing the correct thing, clearing California. And it's just last year finally getting him help because he's a victim. And now I'm finding out not only was, he was a victim of that, he's a victim of not getting the help he needs. And, I've listened to some of their podcasts where they make fun of him.
Wait a minute. Why didn't Seth insist that they get help for him a long time ago and make sure it was being done? What? Wait.
Make fun of his dancing. Chris obviously has this thing about corporal discipline with him. And it's just... it's not good.
Seth, I'm so
I
sorry.
need to find my son,
Right.
and he's going to need extensive therapy now to put him back on the right track.
Yes. Was Sebastian the one who told you about the sexual abuse that had happened?
His mother did, and my son did. This happened in California, so Sheriff's Department, CPS was involved. Sheriff's Department was involved there. They wouldn't give me the kid's name, his last name. But at least the only thing I was able to do there was put the detective over that case in contact with the school psychologist so that at least they could protect the other children from this child.
Right. So no juvenile
California
proceedings commenced or anything like that, Seth, with this child? He wasn't brought to juvenile court?
Not in California. No, in California, kids 13, they're like, he's too young to prosecute. And they wouldn't do anything about the parents either.
Seth, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. My heart breaks for you for so many reasons, and this is just one more of those reasons. Tell me, please, Seth,
That's just crazy.
what else do you want the public to know as people all over are hoping and praying for your son Sebastian's safe return?
That I'm just looking for him. I need people to help. I'm just one person. I can do a lot, but I can't do everything. And I have to find him.
Absolutely. You have to find him. And we will continue doing everything we can here at Court TV to help you find him, putting his picture out there, video, talking about him, and hopefully he is somewhere where he can be brought home safe to you soon. Seth Rogers, thank you so much for this talk. Thank you for sharing all of those things. I know it's not easy. Every good wish as you hopefully bring Sebastian home safe soon.
Thank you.
Okay, so this next video is with News Nation, and it has Tony, his PR guy, in it. All right, let's take a look at this one.
As the teenager vanished in the middle of the night from the Tennessee home where he was living with his mother and his stepfather. Seth Rogers, the teenager's father, made the call Sunday at a vigil for the boy, asking for the FBI to step in as the lead investigative agency. Sebastian was missing on the morning of February 26th, and despite a few hopeful clues that turned out to be false, there have been no signs of the boy anywhere. The Sumner County Sheriff's Office is heading up the search, but Seth says the department has shown no sense of urgency in trying to find his son. He says people have told him they reported evidence to the department, but then got no response back. The Sheriff's Office says it's been working diligently on the case and that the FBI is already helping along with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. In fact, the TBI issued this Amber Alert on Sebastian the day after he disappeared. But Rogers says a fresh set of eyes is needed and that it's time for the department to hand over the reins completely to the FBI. For more now, we're joined by Seth Rogers, Sebastian's father, and Tony Mathis, a spokesman for Seth and also a family friend. Thanks so much for joining us. Seth, this is not the first time you've called for the FBI to step in and take over. Why do you think it's so important?
I don't want my son to become a cold case. And the way that I'm seeing things now, it'll be a cold case.
You mentioned that people are calling in with information. They're not getting calls back?
Well, they're not going to call back and let them know that they checked the information. What it is I've got people that have contacted me and been like, we found stuff. And we've contacted Sumner County to come pick it up to see if it has any relevance to my son being missing. And they just don't show up.
Tony, what do you think the chances are the FBI will, in fact, step in? They can't do that unless local officials there ask them to.
I think it's going to take great
Sorry, both of you can answer, but
Yeah.
Tony, you first, then Seth.
I mean, I think what it's going to take is it's going to take networks such as yours to put a little pressure on them to let them know that either one, we want some confidence that they're getting somewhere in the case, which means a little communication with Seth, which we're not getting, or, we want them to elevate the case.
What do you mean, Seth? You're not communicating with police?
Sumner County, I don't believe that text messages are a valid form of communication. I can't tell anything from your tone or how you're speaking to me. It's just like sending somebody an email in response to their questions, but it actually has more to do with how you respond than what you responded with.
Seth,
I just don't think there's anything for them to respond to him because, one, he's a suspect. He said that out of his own mouth. And they probably just don't have any more information that they have already. Let's listen to this.
you have a theory about what may have happened to your son. We should say your son Sebastian has autism, so he might have. Would he have difficulty being out and about on his own?
I believe he would.
Okay, so what's your theory about what happened to him?
Well, my theory is not new. It's just the last thing that I've been informed of is Sumner County has, as they said, no evidence that he ever left the house.
What does that tell you?
My son is invisible inside of a house that nobody's in.
Well, you know that's not true. So what? I mean, seriously, what do you think? I mean, do you think he's suffered some sort of foul play?
I don't know if there's foul play or not. I'm just stating that that's what they've told me. Well, if that's what you've told me in 3 months, let's have some common sense,
Seth, you also said that you got copies of some reports from Child Protective Services about how Sebastian was treated by your ex-wife. Is there anything you can tell us about what was in those reports?
No, ma'am. That is all confidential between me, DCS, and my attorney.
But you don't, and nobody thinks that anything in there might be relevant to what might have happened to him.
Sumner County has had these records since probably day one, maybe day two. I had to jump through hoops in order to receive them, or I was told I could go to Sumner County to receive a copy of them.
When we last had you on, we were hopeful that there was a picture that had been found from North Carolina of a boy who looked like your son. There's the picture. We're showing it right now. Whatever turned out with the picture? Was this another false lead?
It took took them 8 or 9 days to track down the mom of the child.
So it was just another boy who looked like Sebastian?
Really, I mean, yeah. I've seen pictures of the gentleman next to his mom in front of a Christmas tree, and it's just like, man, I mean, it was hope.
All right.